Mic check. Yes, thing. Look at me. Hello and welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to take a look at a couple modules from Schlappi Engineering. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but I like saying Schlappi, so we're just going to go with that. He sent me out 100 grit and Interstellar Radio here. See if we can get that nice and clear on the camera. Yeah, oh, I don't know. Yeah, all right, we'll see. 100 grit here is a pretty crazy distortion module. I've never had a distortion in my case, so this is kind of a first here. And when I saw it initially, some videos on YouTube, I really wanted to get it. It sounded so just gnarly and crazy compared to any other distortion I've ever heard. And then I also saw his other module, Interstellar Radio, and just super unique and makes some weird noises, which is what I like. So we're going to go over a quick view of these panels. It's going to be kind of a dual overview. Look at the panels, what these modules can do, and we'll get into some patches. So thanks for watching. So first things first, we're going to go over 100 grit. According to Schlappi Engineering's Quick Start Guide, it is a touch-controlled distortion unit ranging from subtle tone control to total sonic obliteration. It consists of a low-pass filter, VCA, and distortion section with 8 touch points. Voltage control, overdrive, resonance, and frequency, along with a plethora of feedback paths, allowing it to operate as a hands-on performance instrument with or without any input. One of the first patches I did with this was not even putting anything not putting anything in the input and just doing a little feedback jam with some effects. So you have your 8 touch points to the top right here. They are brass, like I said, connected to sensitive points in the circuit and voltage control points. Touch more than one at a time. I like to personally touch all the nipples on there. You know what I'm saying? So that controls different things like voltage control points here. All the inputs there. Then you have your frequency, which is a filter cutoff control. Acts as kind of like a standard filter. You have your 100 switch, which is gain times 100. You can kind of toggle switch it on, switches back off, or go to the left for it to be on permanently. Input 1 is right here. Insert audio here. If no cable is inserted, this feeds a second distortion output into the filter. And then input 2, if no cable is inserted, this feeds the distortion output back into the input. So you have your input 1 and 2 here and your corresponding knobs. Your gain, there's VCA gain going into distortion section. If no CV is applied, this needs to be up to get audio out of either output. So it will completely go to 0 there. And gain CV, you got it down here, CV input, and then your output. Output from VCA by default, switchable to filter output with header on the rear. I haven't touched that yet, but I guess on the back there's a header that you can switch. And then your distortion output. You obviously have resonance for the filter, and you're going to have a resonance CV input right there. And there's also FM1, voltage control over filter cutoff frequency. No cable insert. This feeds the distortion output into the frequency control. So your FM inputs here, your knob, corresponding knobs right there. And then you have FM2, which is an exponential voltage control over filter cutoff frequency, roughly scaled to volts per octave, but will not track in tune. Haven't tried that yet, but I think we'll do a patch trying that out. Doesn't say it tracks roughly scaled, so yeah, we'll try it out. And I think I already set a resonance CV corresponding down here, so that's pretty much the panel right there. It's definitely a playable distortion, and you'll see in some of the patches coming up. Let's also jump right into this quick start guide for Interstellar Radio, and then we'll get to some patches. Interstellar Radio modulates an audio signal onto a high-frequency pulse train, and then back to an audio signal with voltage control over the clocks for the modulation carrier, as well as the demodulation. I keep saying that wrong. Like a voltage-controlled radio receiver designed for poor reception. Manipulating these clocks allows for a variety of aliasing, distortion, and frequency modulation type effects. It also acts as a novel form of noise oscillator without any input or with the error out patched to the input. So you have your in, out, and your error output, bottom left. You have your signal in the top left. And then you have your type, sets the type of PLL tracking loop used to recover the signal, changes the character of the effect. For signal in, forgot to mention, it attenuates input level if no cable is inserted, a DC voltage is applied. In your output, this is recovered in mangled audio. And then your error output, type of logic comparator, XOR, outputs the difference between the input and the output. You also have your carrier CV in the top right, CV over carrier frequency if no cable is inserted, input signal is applied, and the carrier frequency right next to that, bias frequency of the transmit up conversion side. Adjusting this effectively changes your sample rate, allowing for aliasing effects. If it is too low, it may not pass any audio. Then your carrier in below that replaces carrier with external oscillator. Demodulator CV, CV over demodulator frequency. If no cable is inserted, input signal is applied. Demodular frequency, bias frequency of the receiver, down conversion side. If this is set too low, no output will be produced. Then demodulator in replaces demodulator with external oscillator. And your error threshold sets the comparator threshold for their error output. On certain settings, this now will be similar to a wet-dry mix, but everything is square waves. Tone. This controls a passive low-pass filter on the signal output, also the PLL demodulator loop, and can be used to tame the outputs as well as the the tracking of the signal. So all of that is kind of a mouthful, and I'm not even 100% of what I read here, but that's okay, because playing with it, it makes a lot of strange, weird noises, and it's right up my alley, so we'll still have some fun with it. I think it's really, the point of this module is just to mangle and fuck up some audio, so I think it's that's all you really need to know. And this other stuff you can kind of just research or learn about. So let's get to patching. So what do we got going on in this patch here? We got reverb with the decay fully clockwise, so I can get some feedback. This is just going to be a ton of feedback from reverb going into 100 grit, which is also more feedback and distortion and just some gnarliness. I have a bass voice coming from Brenso. What else? BIA is the kick. I have a snare from Beehive, and that is mix going into beads. Give it some weird drum effects, and I forgot to add that 100 grit is then going into Mimeophone for delay, reverb, and some more weirdness. For this patch here, it's pretty simple. I have rings going through 100 grit, and dare I say it adds a little bit of grit to it, but not too much. That's what's nice with 100 grit. You can add as much, distortion as you want. You can go mild distortion to pretty heavy, and in this one, slightly mild. So I have rings as the voice, then I have BIA as kick, beehive as a snare, or a hi-hat snare, and some other effects going on. So check it, yo. So that just about wraps it up for this video. I want to thank Schlappi Engineering again for sending out these modules. Super cool, super playable, and just all around awesome modules, well built. So I'm also interested in putting some more stuff on this channel, kind of like a vlog style, just kind of talking to the camera, maybe about more gear, kind of like this microphone or the camera I use, just different equipment, and my thoughts on, music process, making music, kind of self-doubt, like just the psychological part of creation and stuff like that. So if you're interested in that, let me know. And again, thanks for watching.